Now we will go to the heart. Just quick recap. The heart has got the apex, base. It is also called the posterior surface, borders. There are the borders, right borders, inferior border, left lateral border, upper border. Then heart has got the surfaces. These surfaces are anterior surface, that is also called as the sternocostal surface. Left ventricular surface, then inferior surface. Now these all surfaces, whatever, and the borders. Apart from that, the surfaces as well as the border and the apex, base, which is said to be the posterior surface. All these parts of the heart, they are covered by the what pericardium, which is said to be as a fibroserous sac, which is conical in shape, apex of which is, that is pericardium, directing upwards and base is down, while the reverse is true for the heart in general. Apex is directing downwards and forwards and towards left, and base is directing upwards and backwards and towards right. So like that. So now this heart, which is having all these, it has got the dimensions. From the base to the apex, so this is what is said to be as a base to the apex. The length is 12 centimeter. Then from the water, the broadest part of the water, that of the heart, that is beginning of the water, that of the, you can say, right border, and the beginning of the left border, that is exactly at the level of the base, where it is the broadest. It will be the water 6 to 8 centimeter. So this is the transverse distance. This is the length. Then you will be having the water from the anterior surface to what is said to be as the, what is the posterior surface of the base. That will be the what, something 3 centimeter. So these are the dimensions of the what, heart. Now this dimension, if it is increased more, that type of a heart is called as what is said to be as increasing in the size of the what, heart, is known as the what, cardiomegaly. This is a applied anatomy, that is also called as the hypertrophy of the heart, applied part. Then this you can say heart. On these, whatever you will be having a surfaces of the heart, what you have already got. Now on this, you will be having a grooves. On this, you will be having the grooves. By means of the groove, on the surface of the heart, Now this is called as a what? Atrioventricular. Atrioventricular groove. Now this atrioventricular groove, almost all, it runs on the anterior surface, that is the sternocostal surface of the heart. So it is called as the anterior part of atrioventricular groove. So this is. Now there will be the one more atrioventricular groove, that will be the what? B, posterior atrioventricular groove. Atrioventricular groove. Now these grooves, as they run inside, they form atrioventricular septum. Atrioventricular septum. Then there will be a what? Small faint groove appears. This is anterior interatrial groove. On the posterior surface at the base, there will be a more fainter line appears. That will be the posterior interatrial groove. Now these together runs inside and then forms the interatrial septum. So interatrial septum divides the atrial portion of the heart into two. That is the right atrium and the what? Left atrium. Now you will be having another groove on the water, that of the sternocostal surface of the heart, which will be running from the mid part of the what? Anterior interatrial groove or interatrioventricular groove to the what? Apex closure, ahead than the what? That of the cardiac notch. So this is called as anterior interventricular groove. Then on the what? That of the diaphragmatic surface, there will be a what? One more groove appears. Now that groove is said to be as the posterior interventricular groove. Now this anterior interventricular groove and the posterior interventricular groove on this sternocostal surface of the what? That of the 2/3 of the ventricular surface of the heart, as it runs inside, it will be joined to the what? That of the posterior interventricular groove, the one which will be there on the diaphragmatic surface or the inferior surface of the heart as it proceeds forwards. Then when they reach forward, they will be going to form the water that of the, you can say, one septum. Now that septum is the interventricular septum. So you have got the water that of the, you can say, septas. First, atrioventricular septum, which divides the atrial from the water that of the ventricular portion of the heart by means of the grooves. That is anterior atrioventricular groove and the posterior interventricular groove as they approaches inside. Then you have got the anterior interatrial groove and the posterior interventricular groove, thereby as they run inside, they will be going to have an intraatrial septum. So atrial portion of the heart is dividing into two. That is what is said to be as a what? Right and the left atrium. Now, ventricular portion of the water that of the heart have got the what? Anterior interventricular groove and the posterior interventricular groove on the ventricular 2/3 of the water that of the sternocostal surface of the heart and down the diaphragmatic surface of the heart, which will be there as a what? Posterior interventricular groove. As they approaches inside, they will be going to get the what? Interventricular septum. So ventricular portion of the heart is dividing into again two parts. One is the right ventricle and another is the left ventricle. So you will be having a totally of 4 chambers like this. So now you will be going to have the what? Left part of the heart or the left chamber of the heart, which is there, that what we will be considering as, it is almost all right. It is a venous collecting chambers. It is a venous collecting chambers or the carbon dioxide collecting chambers. That is the right chambers above and below. So right part of the heart who is always collecting the water deoxygenated, whereas the left part of the heart, that is the left atrium and left ventricle, they always collects the oxygenated blood, left part. So you have to remember in such a way that right part of the body, right hand and so all, they do the good things what we say, but here it sets opposite for the heart in comparison with the left side of the body. Here left part of the heart is always collecting the what? Oxygenated, that is the pure. Then there are, you can say, some, or you can say, ear-like projections on the what? Atrial portion of the heart. Those are called as the what? Ear-like remnant left. They are called as the auricles. So right auricle and the left auricle, which are the remnant of the entire development of the water, that of the, you can say, atrium of the heart, as well as the what in heart, totally it will be developed from the U-shaped tube, where the heart is developed from the what? Pericardio-pleural cavity, from the cardiac origin, cardiogenic origin, in between the two lateral plates of the mesoderm. So these are the things. So now you have already got that are the water, there are the, you can say, 4 chambers or the 4 parts are there for the water that is the heart now. Now out of this 4, now you have to deal about what is said to be as the right atrium. Right atrium of the heart. shape, quadrangular in shape. This you can say right atrium, which is present in front and right to the left atrium of the heart in general. And this right atrium is the one which will be separating from the left atrium by means of interatrial septum. Now this here you can say right atrium is placed just above right and a little in the front to the what? That of the right ventricle. Now this right atrium has got the boundaries, has got the relations. So the right atrium, it forms the right border of the heart in general, and this right atrium forms one third of atrial portion of this sternocostal surface of the heart. Now this right atrium, which is forming all these, it will be also definitely it is covered by the water that of the you can say pericardium from outside in fibrous pericardium, parietal and the water visceral portions of the water that of the serous pericardium from all angles. Now this right atrium has got the limits or has got the boundaries or has got the relations. Now those relations, that what you should know about. Now having that thing in the mind, now let us will see the sectional part of the right atrium. Now so there you have to consider that this is a sagittal section of the water that of the heart, including the thorax. So this will be the right atrium. So this will be the what? Left atrium. And this will be the what? The remaining part. That what you have got, this is vertebrae. Intervertebral is everything. Now, the right atrium in front, it is completely related to posterior part of or posterior surface of body of sternum. Then second to seventh costal cartilage, second to seventh ribs, then you have got a successive intercostal intercostal space. Then you have got intercostal arteries, anterior intercostal arteries, anterior intercostal veins, anterior intercostal group of lymph vessels. Then you have got the intercostal nerves. Apart from that, it has got the intercostal space, that what it contains: external intercostal muscles, internal intercostal muscles, innermost intercostal muscles with membranes. With having all that, it also related to the content of anterior mediastinum, such as internal thoracic arterium, internal thoracic veins, and internal thoracic lymph vessels. Then a gland what is said to be as a thymus, and thymic arteries, thymic veins, thymic lymph vessels, nerves to the thymus gland. Apart from all these, anteriorly it is related to costo-mediastinal races of pleura, then mediastinal surface of right lungs, then costo-mediastinal races of right lung, including the phrenic, nerve, right place. So these all things are related to the what? In front to the water, that of the relation of the water, that of the right atrium. These all. So these all things are related here. So that is why mediastinal surface of the right lung shows the impression for the water cardiac, but it is made by the water right atrium. Okay. So this is the anterior relation of the right atrium. Now you have to go to the water posterior relation. Posterior relation of the water, that of the, you can say, right atrium, posteriorly towards left. It is related to the water left atrium, which is separating from the right by means of the interatrial septum. Apart from that, it is related to still behind to the water left atrium. Now here, the oblique sinus of pericardium. Then the thoracic vertebrae, 5 to 8 intervertebral discs, esophagus, bifurcation of the trachea into two, right, left, principal bronchus, inward bending or a recommend position, but in the straight. Thoracic vertebrae 6 to the thoracic vertebrae 9 and the intervertebral disc between them. descending part of the thoracic aorta and accessory and the hemiazygos veins, then the thoracic duct. All these are there successively to that. But main things are the posteriorly towards left right atrium, which is separating from that is by the water that of the your part. Hello? ಹಾಂ ಅದೇ ಬರ್ತೇನೆ. ಓಕೆ ಬಿಡಿ. ಓಕೆ ಬಾಯ್. ಹಾಂ ಓಕೆ. So this is what it will be going to come into the view. So now you have to go to the water laterally. Laterally the what is said to be as right atrium related to that too, especially right laterally. Right laterally. So I can make it now in this diagram, now here only. So this is what? The thing. Right laterally, the right atrium is related to the mediastinal surface of right lung, mediastinal pleura, that which separates from the pericardium, that which covers the right atrium, and few structures are interposed between the mediastinal pleura and the pericardium. They are as follows: arch of vena azygos, then deep phrenic nerve, right phrenic nerve, then the right vagus nerve, which is running respectively in front and behind the root of the right lung. Then you have what here? Root of right lung. Root of right lung. And the structures which are entering at the root of the right lung, they are pulmonary artery, right pulmonary artery, which carries the water, that of the deoxygenated blood, carbon dioxide blood for the pulmonary circulation, and the covering of that is called as what is said to be as eparites. Then you got the pulmonary veins too, which carry what oxygenated blood after getting over the pulmonary circulation to the water left atrium of the heart, the one which will be situated behind and towards left to the water right atrium, and separated internally by the interatrial septum. The covering of these veins, they are the water that of the eparites. Eparites, they are nothing but the water that of the, you can say, extension of the water that of the pleura to the water vessels. Then you have got bronchus, right principal bronchus, covering of the right principal bronchus, eparites, bronchial artery, bronchial veins, counters and then thereby they goes to the what lung alveoli. In the same manner, along with the water that is the pulmonary artery, pulmonary veins, there are sympathetic and the parasympathetic nerves, filaments to the water lungs. Those are the pulmonary plexus. They are there. With that, there will be the water areolar tissues and the fat little amount. It will be there in that left lateral, not left laterally, right lateral, to the water right atrium, to the right atrium. So this is a relation of the water right lateral to the right atrium. Now you have to go to the water. What is the thing it will be there medially? This is laterally. Medially, it is limited by or guarded by the aorta and the water that of the pulmonary trunk, which are present in the arterial tube or the first tube of the visceral part of the serous pericardium, including pride and certain extent fibers. So this will be the medial. So now what you will be going to, these are the relations, but there will be a what above straightway superior vena cava opening, below you have the inferior vena cava opening. This is opening of superior vena cava and opening of inferior vena cava above and below respectively. So this will be the thing what you will be going to get into. Now the thing is what, how this right atrium is completely guarded here. Now you have to go to the internal of the right atrium. For that I have to take this, whatever the diagram out from your view, and I am going to draw the internal of the right atrium. So in order to have the internal, you have to have what, this one cut very closer to the right part to the water, that of this anterior atrioventricular groove or coronal circus, right to that, and then you have to reflect. So it will be going to come like this. So you will be going to get this is what is said to be as so this is what the right atrium. Now this right atrium atrium. It is almost all quadrangular chamber. This is the internal. Now we are there at the internal wall. Right atrium. Now internal of the right atrium shows almost all quadrilateral or quadrangular chamber, which is just like a rectangle piece placed vertically. Now this chamber has got the two portions. One is anterior part of the internal aspect and the posterior part of the internal aspect. Now the anterior part of the that of the internal aspect of the right atrium, it is always rough. It is always rough. It is always rough. So this roughness is, this is the anterior part, which is always rough. So internal aspect of the anterior wall of the right atrium, which is rough, that roughness is because of the muscular pectina. Now what is this? You can say muscular pectina ties. Muscular pectina ties are the water that of the, where you can say, these are the muscular ridges which are of a water that of the plain type. They are running from the right border, of the heart in general, and in particular the right border of their right atrium in particular. These are extending from that, and then they encircles the entire internal aspect of the anterior wall of the right atrium. Now these appears like just like a teeth of a comb, or it will be appearing like gills of the water that of the fish. They are the muscular pectina. Now there will be one prominent margin. Now this prominent margin, this is what is said to be as a crista terminalis. Now this crista terminalis is nothing but, it is a band of water that of the white fibrous, which is tendinous, extending from the right part of the water that of the opening of the superior vena cava. It will be going to run downwards and towards medially to end in the right part of opening of inferior vena cava. Now this thing externally corresponds to very, very close to the right border of the water that of the heart in general, and the right border of the water that of the right atrium in particular, or sulcus terminalis, which is corresponds externally. So this Muscular pectinators are beginning from crista terminalis, which is externally related to the what? Sulcus terminalis. Sulcus terminalis internally related to the crista terminalis. That's all. Now, at the beginning of the water, that is the crista terminalis, very very close to the water, that is the right part of that of the ear, you can say. Opening of the superior vena cava, small nodules of nerve clusters appears. Those are called as a sino-auricular nodes. Sino-auricular nodes. Sino-auricular nodes. Yes and no. Now, after having had this, there will be a what? One or you can say part, that is the posterior part of the right atrium, which is smooth but uneven. This unevenness is because of the what? Many openings and many elevations it will be there. Because of that. Now, this you can say right atrium, which is a smooth part or a cavity, dividing into two parts. One is inflowing orifice and outflowing orifice. Now, what are the inflowing orifice of the right atrium? Inflowing orifice of the right atrium are, this is the first orifice of superior vena cava and orifice of inferior vena cava. Now, orifice of the water, that is the superior vena cava, it is almost all round, directing downwards, little backwards, and then towards left. This orifice do not have the walls, devoid of walls, because the blood will be traveling in the direction of the gravity, so it doesn't have walls. So through this orifice, the deoxygenated blood from upper limb, right, left, neck, head, and the water content of the water, that of the head, that is the skull, including cavities in the skull and the brain, everything, it will be going to come like this here into the right atrium. So this is the how. Now you have got the one more inflowing orifice, superior vena cava first. Another is the orifice of inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava. Main are two. Inferior vena cava orifice, it collects the deoxygenated blood from the lower limbs, pelvis, perineum, abdominal cavity, and the part of smallest part. That the thoracic part of the inferior vena cava where it is pericardial. It carries the water that of the deoxygenated blood to the water that of the, you can say, right atrium. So blood in this, it will be running against the gravity, so you will be going to have the water walls. So you will be having the walls of the inferior vena cava. Walls of the inferior vena cava. There are two walls. One is attached wall. And another is free wall. Free wall is the one which will be. Free wall is the one which will be there at the internal aspect of that of the anterior part of orifice of the inferior vena cava, while attached it will be there internal aspect of that of the, where you can say posterior portion of that of the inferior vena cava orifice, which gives the beginning of. One, you can say, part which will be there like a ream. That is a ream of fossa ovalis. Ream of fossa ovalis. That is what the thing you will be having. So inferior vena cava orifice has got the walls, because the blood in that, it will be running against the gravity. So whatever the blood which has been gone into the water, that of the right atrium, it should not fall and come down, so it prevents. Then you have got the another orifice inflowing. That inflowing orifice is the orifice of coronary sinus. So coronary sinus orifice, it is a small orifice which is present at the water left to the water that is the fossa ovalis ream, and above and left to the water that of the, where you can say, orifice of the inferior vena cava. So this is the water orifice of coronary sinus. Now this coronary sinus orifice carries to the water that of the right atrium the deoxygenated blood after the deoxygenated blood which has been drained from the heart itself. Those are called the cardiac veins. So cardiac vein, after draining the deoxygenated blood from the heart, it will be going to get open into the coronary sinus, which is the one vein which opens into the right atrium via the coronary sinus orifice. Now this coronary sinus orifice has also got very small walls. Those are the semi-lunar walls. So whatever the blood which has been poured into the right atrium via the water that of the coronary sinus, which is the short big vein which will be having a deoxygenated blood from the cardiac veins, it goes there. Its direction is upwards or towards right. So this will be the thing. So now you will be going to have the other, you can say, orifice inflowing. Those are the water foramina, venarum, minimum. So they are there here. Foramina, venarum, minimum. These, you can say, foramina, venarum, minimum, these are the small orifices which are the inflowing. There at the level of the water that of the interatrial septum, That interatrial septum which separates the what right atrium from the what left atrium, and it is formed by the what anterior interatrial groove to the what that of the posterior interatrial groove. When they comes inside and joins at that level, they are there, and it is formed by, now these orifices are formed by these small veins of the heart. They are called as a venae caudis minimi. Venae caudis minimi. Venae caudis minimi. Venae caudis minimi. So these are the things that what you will be having, they are the inflowing. Now, you have got the one you can say tubercle here. Now this tubercle is called as intervenous tubercle. So intervenous tubercle is a tubercle, the one which will be present just below, little behind the water that of the superior vena cava orifice in the right atrium. So this is what? Intravenous tubercle. Now this intravenous tubercle, it is very much faint, not well marked in the water humans, but in all quadrupedous means four-legged animals. Humans are bipedous. In quadrupedous it will be much more well developed. Maybe because of the posture, of a bipedus compared with the quadrupedus posture of that animals, because humans are also animal, but posture is different. So because of that it might be. Now you will be going to have the water, this. The limb of the fossa ovalis. Now what is the fossa ovalis? So this is the fossa ovalis. Now fossa ovalis is the what? It is the part, the one which is the what almost all oval in shape. It is present above and towards a little left to the what inferior vena cava orifice, and little bit below and towards right to the what that of the, you can say, coronary sinus orifice. Now this is what? The fossa ovalis. Now this fossa ovalis at the time of the what development, it is totally by the what membranous. But when, I mean to say, it is a membranous at the developmental, but in the fetus, it is remained as a what whole. But slowly as the development occurs, it starts that fossa becomes, or the whole becomes, that becomes as a what membrane, and that membrane afterwards become little bit thicker and becomes as a what that of the posterior, internal aspect of the posterior part of that of the right atrium, where it will be converting as a what fossa remained. So there will be a what, no mixing of deoxygenated blood to the what oxygenated blood. So fossa which is there, that is becoming slowly a membranous, and then it is fully formed wall of the what posterior, internal aspect of the posterior wall of that of the right atrium remained as a fossa. That is the main thing. Now the fossa ovalis is elevated at the rim. That is called as a limb of fossa ovalis. This is a continued part of that of the attached part of that of the wall of the inferior vena cava. So this will be the. Now after After having had this, you have got the interatrial. This is the interatrial septum. Interatrial septum. Interatrial septum is a septum. It is a partition between the water that of the right atrium and the water left atrium. It is formed by the water that of the, where you can say, the union of as that anterior interatrial groove and the posterior interventricular groove from front and back runs inside. At the level of the intraatrial septum, there will be the what small foramina which is formed by the what vena cordis minima. Those foramina are called as the what foramina venarum minimorum. So that is another part. Now you have got the what outflowing orifice of the water that of the right atrium. That is called as tricuspid orifice or right atrioventricular orifice. Now, this orifice, as that atrial diastole, there will be a collection of the blood which is deoxygenated from all the sides via the inflowing orifice of the water right atrium, that is those are superior vena cava orifice, inferior vena cava orifice, coronary sinus orifice and foramina venarum minimorum by the respective veins at the time of atrial diastole, because space is more, so it is collected. Now there will be a what another rhythm of the cardiac cycle because of the nerve impulse occurs, that is the atrial contraction and the ventricular diastole, reverse of what it was at the filling. Ventricular contraction is there, at that moment it collects deoxygenated, but atrial contraction occurs and the ventricular diastole occurs. Now at that moment whatever the collected deoxygenated blood in the right atrium, it is trying to flow out from the water that of the outflowing orifice of the right atrium, that is what is said to be as the right atrioventricular orifice or a tricuspid orifice, which has got almost all. Its margin is completely a water that of the, where you can say, encircled by fibrous whitish, wherever you can say three-finger pulp can admit, wherever three-finger pulp can admit. The, where you can say, diameter of this is something about ranging between the pulp of that of the, where you can say, three fingers it may be the what 1.2 to 2.5 centimeter diameter. Now this orifice has got the what three cusps. One is the what medial cusp, another is the what anterior cusp and the what posterior cusp. Hence it is called as a tricuspid. Now if you cut open this orifice, which is the outflowing orifice of the right, it will be appearing like this. So this will be the what septal cusp or the medial cusp half. Then the remaining half of the what medial cusp will be there here. This is the what anterior cusp. This is the what posterior cusp. this is called as a what, a ventricular surface, because they are directing towards the ventricle, while the upper is called as the atrial surface of cusp. Now, atrial surface of the cusps, all three, at the time of the what, atrial contraction, when the blood is there flowing there in that chamber, they are concave, because there will be a ventricular diastole. But if that same is true at the time of the what, I mean to say at the time of that of the ventricular contraction and the what, atrial diastole, so what happens, the ventricular surface will be becoming as a concave and atrial surface becomes a convex. The reverse will be the saxon. This is because of the what, pressure ingredient in those chambers, right atrium and the what, right ventricle. So these are the surfaces. Now, from the what, that of the ventricular surface of the what, medial cusp, and also where these cusps unites each other. So medial cusp will be uniting with the what, posterior cusp, and medial cusp will be united with the what, anterior cusp, and anterior cusp on either side, it will be going to get closer to the what, that of the, where you can say medial cusp and medial posterior cusp will be going to unite with the what, that of the medial cusp, where that union, there are the what, white, non-elastic, thread-like, shiny structures are there. They are called as chordae. Tendinous. Chordae tendinous. The chordae tendinous, they are there at the what, that of the convex ventricular surface of the what, atrioventricular orifice, as well as the what, tricuspid or the tricuspid orifice, where the union of the what, that of the anterior cusp to the medial cusp and the posterior cusp to the what, medial cusp, and the medial cusp to the what, anterior and the posterior cusp occurs from those portions. They are there. So thereby chordae tendinous are more at the what, right ventricle, as well as the papillary muscles are more. So this is the thing. Now the tricuspid orifice or right atrioventricular orifice is directing downwards up, forwards up towards left, downwards up, forwards up towards left. As because of there will be a obliquity of the what, position of the heart. So this is the direction of that. Now, after having the internal of the what, that of the right atrium, so this is what, how, when the pressure will be there more, pressure ingredient becomes more in the what, that of the right atrium. Because of the what, there will be a atrial diastole, room becomes more, so the deoxygenated becomes accommodating. At the same time, there will be a what, ventricular contraction. phase of that of the cardiac cycle begins, slowly the atria which is dilated, it becomes contract, and then ventricular diastole sets in, so the blood will be moving via through and through the tricuspid orifice or right atrioventricular orifice, where you have got the three cusps into the what? Right ventricle. So blood is rushing. So this is what the thing. Now after knowing this, you have to go to the what? Its blood supply. Blood supply for the water that of the right atrium is by right atrial arteries, which are the branches of right coronary artery as well as the atrial arteries coming from the left coronary arteries, very smallest part. So this is the thing. Venous drainage, atrial veins, which will be going to drain the deoxygenated blood from the water that of the you can say right atrium, as well as they will be going to get open into the water that of the right atrium via the foraminum venarum minimorum, forming of foramina venarum minimorum through and through the vena caudis minimi, and that another it will be going to get open into the water coronary sinus orifice into the right atrium. So that is a venous drainage. Venous drainage of right atrium is by vena caudis minimi, opening into the water foramina venarum minimorum, then coronary sinus opens into the water orifice of the coronary sinus. There. Now the lymphatic drainage of the right atrium is by the what? Cardiac group of lymph vessels and the lymph nodes. It will be going to open into the water that of the thoracic duct. So that will be the thing. So lymphatic drainage. Nerve supply for this right atrium is by the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Sympathetic is by the water bodily segmented part that will be ranging between the water that of the T5 to the water that of the T8 or T6 to the water T9 in recommend and in bending respectively. This is sympathetic. Parasympathetic is by the water vagus. They join each other, sympathetic and the parasympathetic, giving rise to the superficial cardiac plexus and the deep cardiac plexus. Then the conducting system of the heart is because of that, where AV node, these are the AV nodes, and the what SN nodes, they are there in that. SN node, sinoauricular node, and AV nodes, they are there in the atrioventricular orifice at that point. So it sets in. After having this embryology of the water right atrium, embryology, right atrium, it is developed from the water that of the septum primum and the septum secundum, from the what used shaped tube after having got rotated via through and through pericardio-pleural cavity, which contains a cardiogenic portion which is present in between the two lateral plate of the mesoderm. So that is what the development. Now coming to the applied part, there will be a what mixing of blood. If this fossa is not converted into a what membrane, from the right atrium to the what left atrium, mixing occurs. Then if that interatrial septum is not fully developed, it is remained as a gap slit, so there will be a mixture of the water of deoxygenated blood which will be there in the water right atrium. It goes into the water left atrium where it will be having oxygenated. So what we say as holes in the heart, or otherwise any of the defect in the formation of the water, or fossa remains as the fossa, not turned into a membrane, and partition has been not formed. Then interatrial septum, if it is remained as a opening, or the not septa is fully formed, that is called as a septal defect, which is one of the ingredient for the what Fowler's tetralogy. So that will be the another point. So these are the things. So at this phase we can call it what neonatology. What is said to be as a blue babies. Blue baby is because of there will be a sudden mixing of the water. If this intraatrial septum is not fully developed, giving rise to a septal defect if it is there, and conversion of the water, that of the fossa, if it is remained as a fossa, not converted as a water, that of the membrana, and then full smooth internal aspect of the posterior wall of the water, that of the right atrium is not fully formed, there also it occurs. So that is called as a blue baby or hole in the heart. So these are the things that what you will be going to get with this. The right atrium is fully finished. Along with the beginning of that of the right atrium, what I had told today's beginning, size which I had left in my last episode. Okay, with this the right atrium is finished. Thank you very much.